Hello everybody, this is RRPG here, and welcome to the very first episode of RRPG Let's Play that covers Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2 on the PlayStation 3. So yeah, and to coincide with The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, we're actually going to be doing this game every other week, kind of like how we're going to do Skyward Sword every other week. And we are going to get through this game. I'm not sure if we're going to do it at 100% because I haven't found all the tidbits and secrets, but we will get through it from beginning to end regardless. So anyway, to get things started with this episode today, the inaugural episode of this game, we're going to get started with Chapter 1, but I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get through it all, but we'll get far along with it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this episode started, shall we? And as you can tell, we can choose between three different difficulty levels. So in order to take the easy route for us to get through this game just fine, even though it's still very challenging, we're going to go with the Path of the Acolyte. Now, there are some catches to this game when we go through it all. When there are cutscenes that are abound where they are talkable, I will be sure to keep my microphone muted. And when we get back into the action, I will be talking over when we are getting into the gameplay whatsoever. So yeah, that's what's going to happen. Anyway, let's go ahead and read this, and let's get started with Chapter 1, okay? Special Agent Sonia appears at the door of the tiny shop run by Master Swordsmith Muramasa amidst the skyscrapers of Tokyo. She inquires after the ninja Ryu Hayabusa, his whereabouts a mystery. She brings news of a terrible danger facing the world, bearing a message that must reach Hayabusa at any cost. As night falls, the evil Black Spider Ninja clan emerges from the shadows to infest the streets of this unsuspecting city. And there's also a new catch to this as well. We can also select different costumes, and there are 3 other playable characters aside from Ryu Hayabusa, but they have their own little chapters that they go through, which I really don't think it adds to the story, but just adds more to the gameplay, I suppose. But they are pretty unnecessary, except for Ayane, because she does have a very important role in the storyline much later on, but we'll see once as we get to that. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started with Chapter 1, shall we?
So, let me get this straight.
Let me see here.
You don't have a clue where I can find Ryu Hayabusa?
No one knows where a ninja goes. If he isn't at the Hayabusa village, he could be halfway around the world. Sonia, was it? Do you have business with Ryu?
I do.
And what might that be?
All I'll say is that it concerns the Archfiend.
Oh. The Archfiend.
Huh?
We have, woman. I expected more, Ryu Hayabusa.
Oh, okay, so we're finally in the action. And as you can tell, it's pretty much the same when we were playing the original Ninja Gaiden Sigma about last year. But there are some noticeable changes. You can actually snap off enemies' limbs and all that, and you can actually do these death moves or whatever. It's actually a pretty cool feature, and one that actually I recommend a whole lot. But you can also do the other moves, like the ultimate techniques and stuff, after you absorb the essence and all that stuff. But, you know, for the most part, just do what you do best. That's all I gotta say.
Oh, why, if it isn't Ryu.
They were minions of the Black Spider clan.
Indeed they were. We haven't heard from them in a while.
Who was the woman?
You don't know her? Neither do I. You couldn't save her? She was looking for you. She said it was about the Archfiend.
The Archfiend.
Well, looks like we're gonna have to go find her after all, but looks like we got some more, we got another wake-up call from the Black Spider Ninjas. So, there are some noticeable differences in this game as well. When you go find Muramasa shops, which are in this game as well as the first game, what you want to do, or what the thing you want to be careful is that you cannot use essence to upgrade your weapons like you could in the original Ninja Gaiden 2 on the Xbox 360. Trust me. You'll actually see why once we get to that. There are different aura types when it comes to finding Muramasa shops and all that stuff, so you will understand why we can only upgrade our weapons through those types of shops. But anyway, here we have a new item that was not introduced in the first game, which is called the Herb of Spiritual Life, which is pretty much the same as the Elixir of Spiritual Life, but now we have herbs. And they do restore a small amount of your health, so use them wisely. There are great spirit elixirs in this game, but they're pretty much the same as what you would expect from the first game, so I think the elixirs of spiritual life are pretty much omitted in this game overall, so they had to resort to something that's kind of in a Resident Evil fashion where you use herbs. Now, one thing you want to be careful with in this game is that this game, the enemies are a lot tougher, and that is no joke. But you can actually still do your super moves like the Izuna drop on these enemies, which I apparently did right there. But there are other weapons you can actually use it for too, so anyway, let's go ahead and save our progress right here. And those dragon statues that we see right there, they will heal our health as well as save our progress. But you can only do it one time, so that's something you're going to want to be careful with. I like it how, you know, no matter how far you go up, you can actually do the Izuna drop that way, and it's just hilarious. Now, I know a lot of people were expecting me to do a Let's Play of this game right before Ninja Gaiden 3 releases, and I will happily oblige to that. And that's another one of those games that I want to pick up as soon as possible, but due with me getting a job at this time, I'm trying my best to save some money, and that way I can pick it up. But the thing is that it's coming out around nearly the same time as Tales of Grace's F, which could hinder my progress from buying the game at launch, so we'll just have to, I'll just have to get the money as soon as I can, and I'll be sure to get that game as well, and I'll do a Let's Play of that too. But it probably won't be until next year. Okay, we got one of the scrolls here, and it's teaching us the technique of shadowless footsteps. Basically, this is pretty much the same as before in the previous game, where you can actually run diagonally towards the wall, and you can try to make it to other platforms, and you can just continue your progress from there. Now, a very funny thing about trying to do these scrolls for the first time is that you will actually get trophies for completing those tasks. In the original Ninja Gaiden 2, you get achievements for doing that as well, but, you know, so nothing has really changed. But let's go ahead and do this so we can get over here. Okay, what else can I talk about that's really different? Oh, and this game, I will say, is pretty much... Oh my gosh. It's really monstrous in terms of the blood and gore. But in this game, there's not a whole lot of blood and gore. Instead, there tends to be energy that comes out of enemies after they've been decapitated. Well, that was because after Tomonobu Itagaki left Team Ninja back in 2008, right after the release of Ninja Gaiden 2 on the Xbox 360, and when Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2 released, Yosuke Hayashi pretty much questioned whether or not if the blood was really necessary for, like, everything in this game. So that's what he tried with, and I know a lot of people would be disappointed in that if there was no blood whatsoever, but there is blood in some way, but you don't see him in the head decapitations. But yeah, this game is really, really gory. Probably the equivalent of some anime, kind of like, oh, what do you call it? Probably some anime kind of like Genocyber or Violence Jack, and oh my gosh, I don't even want to talk about those. Okay, and we did get a scroll right there, and we could pretty much use the reverse wind technique, and we actually got something out of this treasure chest here, which is Lives of the Thousand Gods, and what those things will do is they will give you a hit point increase, or they will pretty much give you a health increase. Let's put it that way. Now, there is another new feature in this game that replaces the gold scarabs from the first game. They are called Crystal Skulls, and no, I'm not making an Indiana Jones reference, but you can actually find Crystal Skulls in this game to give you all sorts of really unique items and such, and they will also be used to give you, what do you call it? They will also be used to give you bigger achievements later on. Now, I think there's 50 like there were with the Golden Scarabs, but I'm not entirely certain. Okay, now, and also when I'm playing this game, I'll pretty much be using different weapons as we go through this game, which, you know, I don't want to be severely restricted to the Dragon Sword at all times, even though I really do like that weapon, but I pretty much will even the balance between what types of weapons that we use for Ryu Hayabusa. But when it comes to the other characters, the females that we play as, we're pretty much going to be using only one weapon that they already have on them regardless, and we'll show some of the others as well. Now, this is actually also the first Ninja Gaiden game to incorporate a multiplayer element. And there is a multiplayer mode in this game where you can actually do multiplayer missions. And sometimes they're actually pretty cool, and you can actually do it online as well, or you can just play solo. But for this game, it's mostly a single-player experience, and that's the one we're going to be focusing on for the time being. Okay, let's see. What do we get in here? Do we get another scroll? Yes, we do. The Art of Inferno. So we're going to be using Ninpo here. And we can equip Ninpo if we do this. Oh, Marvel Fan 88 is now offline. Goodbye, Marvel Fan 88. Okay, let's go ahead and let's equip the Ninpo on us. And the Ninpo is right here. And we can go ahead and use this, and we can pretty much scroll around to see what enemies are around, so we can try to hit them with the blazing fires. And I think that was something new that was introduced in this game. So I think you can also shake your controller to try to raise the strength of your Ninpo attacks, but I'm not entirely certain. So don't quote me on that, as we will find that out sooner or later. Okay, now we found Red Essence. That will give us more points to our Ninpo gauge, so that way we can use more Ninpo attacks if we need to, but for the most part, it's really not that necessary. And yeah, the enemies here, they're a little bit easier than in the first Ninja Gaiden 2, and let me tell you, this game is definitely more of a breath of fresh air than Ninja Gaiden 2, because Ninja Gaiden 2 is really evil, especially when you get to the boss fights and whatever. Also, another thing I wanted to mention is that sometimes your sword or your weapons will be soaked in blood, and I really don't think they have an effect towards attacking enemies in the game, unlike Oni Chanbra, for instance, but from what we know, you can actually get blood on your weapons. You can stand there and shake off the blood from your weapons if you want to, but it's not going to count as a penalty or whatever. I do a Izuna drop from high up. And, oh, that guy followed me. Now, watch me as I use a new super move on him. Yeah, and that was another thing that I think I mentioned as well, is the super moves. It's actually pretty cool when you do death blows like that. And even the ultimate techniques are pretty strong as well. Okay, now the technique that I was using was called the obliteration technique, so that's what it was. So that's a new thing that was introduced in this game, the obliteration technique, but you have to press the triangle button near a wounded enemy. I should have been talking about this as soon as we got to here, but oh well, what can you do? Okay, let me see if I can try to absorb some ninpo, or absorb some essence, and that way I can do a strong ultimate technique, which I am doing right now. Yeah, just look how insanely powerful that was, and look how stylish that was. That's one of the things that I actually respect the Japanese for when it comes to their hack and slash games, especially with Hideki Kamiya and Tomonobu Itagaki, is that they can really they can really put on a show when it comes to the stylish action in the gameplay. Okay, we have the flying bird technique, which we picked up already with the scroll, and I already showed you that, so no need to go on with that any further. And let's go ahead and save our progress right here. Okay, now that we have gotten that far, I think this is probably a good spot to where we could go ahead and we can close things off here. So, next time on Double RPG Let's Play with Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2 on the PlayStation 3, we're going to resume where we left off, and we're going to finish up Chapter 1 in its entirety. Alright, gamers, take care of yourselves, and I shall see you on the next episode. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys then.